What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 427 of Opinions May Vary. I am your host, JR. As always, I have my co-host with me, Mr. Alex.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm excited.
Yeah. This is the both of us are pretty excited for this week. We have a very exciting guest waiting patiently, letting us kind of build the drama. Although if people read the title, it's already kind of ruined because the title always includes the guest name. But if someone just happened to click play, they won't know. Anyways, joining us this week is a very special guest, a 7-time, according to Wikipedia, Eisner Award nominee, also a New York Times bestseller, Mr. Ben Templesmith. Ben, thank you so much for coming on.
That is far more professional than the adult diaper conversation we just had.
You're blowing my spot. I'm not going to deny it. We were literally about a minute and a half ago discussing adult diapers at conventions and trying to market it.
I'm on a good idea, I think. I think that should be a thing.
We're on to something.
Have a bathroom break. It's fine.
You know, we were like going down that road, and I was like, yeah, let's make a podcast. And I ruined it. Anyways.
You notice I immediately tried to bring down the tone of your podcast just in my opening sentence.
It's not like we typically abandon it pretty quick too. I mean, like I try to be like, oh, hey, we're doing this thing with a special guest, but typically it just turns into us being a bunch of fanboys and like gushing over people who have the ability to make amazing things.
Well, that's actually a good thing because that means you if you're like literally a fanboy, you will ask questions that, you know, regular idiot people, not idiot, cut that out, idiot people. Where do you get your inspiration from? You know, you actually have a real conversation. That's good.
Right.
That's a good thing. That's why people are listening to your podcast right now because they want to delve in, right?
All right, let me cross that
more than just cursory, you know.
Ben, keep telling me about how good I am. I'm here for Ben Templesmith motivational speeches.
I did tell both of you. You both sound extremely handsome and like you work out.
That's not a lie either. The second we connected, like we both said hello, and then Ben Templesmith was telling me that I sounded handsome, which was just really neat.
I think I can also guess your credit scores.
Ooh.
Based on your
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. So
692.
I'm not.
I have no idea. 720.
A second. I was like, why are we just talking about? No, I'm not here to brag. Also, I don't want to like dox myself. Like, is that a thing? Do people target people with a certain credit score? They're like, oh, he's got a good score. I'm going to go after his shit.
Probably means you can borrow more, so.
Yeah. Good old America. So, people didn't know, people who aren't aware, Ben Templesmith is a writer, an artist.
Let's use the term writer loosely, and probably artist loosely as well, but yes.
You've written stuff, and you've also drawn stuff, and then that stuff has then been turned into movies and other various things. You've won awards, Scream Awards, and all that stuff for the art. So I'd say you've done pretty well calling yourself an artist.
Well, thank you. I see. I won't call myself an artist. I'll let other people do that.
Right? Or yeah.
That's the humble. I guess it's a humble brag. I don't know if it's. I'm trying to, like in Australia, you have to be humble. Mm-hmm. You can't believe your own hype. You can't talk yourself up. That's for other people to do based on what you do. So thank you for doing that.
I wish more people had that attitude.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very Australian thing because we have a tall poppy syndrome. So we consider people that celebrate their own success kind of assholes, but we like the underdogs and we like people that the battlers, the people that come up, you know, but we have to stay humble because that's the way you get liked in Australia for that. So very different from the American way of celebrating success generally. But yeah, I like my art, but I can always get better. So I thank you for considering me an artist or someone worthy.
I think that's pretty one point, not a point that I wanted to make, but like in my research, and I actually brought this up to Alex because I try to learn a lot of things about people before we talk to them. I do my best. And, pretty much everyone who knows Ben Templesmith is probably aware of 30 Days of Night, the book, and then the movie that was subsequently made out of the book. And when I was looking at dates on like Wikipedia and all the various things, I started to put like crunch numbers. So I did my mental maths, and then I verified it using the calculator on my computer. Like, you talk about staying humble and staying hungry and getting better. And 30 days. So you were 18.
No, I wasn't 18.
What was it? Were you not 18? Because according to the numbers on the internet, when I crunched them, you were 18 when that came out? No, you're not?
On Wikipedia?
Yeah.
The wiki? Yeah. Okay. So Wikipedia is a funny thing.
Wait, so Wikipedia was wrong? Are you telling me that?
Well, especially in the comic community, there was, I don't know if he still is, one guy that kind of claims ownership over many, many comic creator entries in Wikipedia.
Okay.
And a fan of mine found out about this because he took a great shot on a real camera, professional like camera of me to show. I'm like, oh, that's great. That should be my Wikipedia photo because, everyone has a photo of a thing. And so he tried like 10 times. And someone kept saying, no, the existing picture, which looks like me, it was me at a con, taken with a shitty camera with a little flash, so it looked like I was a sweaty guy in a nightclub. Horrible picture, which is why I said, hey, put that picture up. This guy who'd taken that picture kept saying no and deleting it. And he has his picture and he edits all the entries for at least, I looked them up, 28 creator profiles that have his picture. And I actually met him at a con once and he handed me a card and it said Wikipedia editor on it. It's like, dude, that's not a job. Anyone should be able to.
Yeah.
No.
That's free.
So to fuck with him, I put certain facts around about me that are slight abbreviations because you need a secondary source to then be put on Wikipedia. So no, I was not 18. I'm a little bit older than that. Okay. Not by much. I think I was 23, maybe 24 when I finally broke into comics with the 30 days being what it was. So
which is
I was 18. I made my age a little younger because comics is ageist.
I think that my original point that I was trying to make was initially launching into the comics world at a very young age. I still think 23 pretty damn young. But still being able to, after all this time, stay humble and stay hungry and get better and want to better yourself. That was my very roundabout way of saying, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but you've got a little story right there. So
yeah.
I know. I tried. I think I lost it a little bit during going to a movie set and having the experience of seeing a movie poster. It wasn't with my art on, which isn't. I mean, who gets that usually? But it was derivative of my art for the movie poster, and it was literally the side of a very tall apartment building. So seeing that kind of, it's like if that can give me a little bit of an ego, holy shit to movie people who see their faces plastered on billboards and big skyscrapers and shit for movie promotion like that. Damn, that must play mind games with them. So So if I had my moment, it was, but I always knew that like, well, this is as good as it gets. I'm on a movie set based on a book I helped create and meeting Hollywood people. Although they were nice, but it was mixing with the crew and the director especially was really nice. So I hopefully have not lost my shit. Or I've certainly come crashing back down to earth now since. See, you're getting the mind games, man. You're getting into this.
Well, see, now I'm just like, remember when I was like, I try to learn as much as I can, but then I was exposed because it's just like, oh, you just went to Wikipedia? That's all a lie.
No. Well, like, I know when people underquote my age.
Right. Yeah.
I know usually where they got it from. So it's nothing about Wikipedia.
Yeah.
No, Wikipedia generally is pretty good, but you can manipulate the sources of various things slightly.
I'm learning a lot of things right now about myself.
I learned the hard way from a very neurotic, crazy person on Wikipedia. So
a professional Wikipedia editor, no doubt.
Apparently, that was his life.
Card carrying. So the first time I met you was at a Boston Comic-Con, and
I apologize.
And I knew of your work, and
or whatever I said.
I had looked up your work because I try to do a lot of homework on who's going to be there and who I want to try and get stuff signed by or meet or what I could buy from them while I'm there. And a good friend of mine has a tattoo, and I said to her, I was like, "Hey, Ben's going to be at the show. Do you want me to bring a picture of your tattoo? Because it's from one of his books." And she said, "Yes." So I come to your table and I go, "Okay, so I have this friend." And you were like, "Oh, all right, whatever, dude, you've got a friend." And I hold up a picture.
Usually that ends with a really weird request or something. But it's usually for the person who just says they have a friend.
You choke me.
That's very understandable. But
that'll cost extra.
Our friend KT has the
oh, I know that name.
Yeah, she has the snake tattoo
on her leg. I know
who
KT is. I think I've met her.
Well, she was able
before
to go
she got the tattoo.
She was able to go to like either the following year or the year after and show you that's the dragon snake tattoo on her leg from Wormwood.
Yeah. The one of, if not the most impressive. I mean, there's a couple that rival it, but for sheer scale, that one is the most memorable tattoo I've ever had of anything I've vaguely done. So yeah, no, I remember. I know I've met her at least once. Once I think where she showed me the tattoo, but maybe once when before. But she told me she was going to get it, and I'm like, yeah, right, okay. But you remember something like that? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get this huge snake thing done, like in the comic itself. It's like, okay, well that'll be a first. And she did it. That was very impressive. I remember that.
There, see,
that's awesome. So she's your friend.
She's been on the show, on this podcast, I believe, at least 5 or 6 times.
Wait, what does she do?
She's also,
forgive my ignorance.
She's a local actress, and she also does some circus performing. Okay. So she wrote and starred in a short horror film that I did makeup on with her. And so I have other movie friends.
Oh, cool. So she's creative too.
Oh, yes. Yeah, very much so.
Oh, cool. So I did not know that. So,
yeah, KT's awesome. And she's also like, I've told Alex before, I was like, yo, after like episodes where we record with her, I'm like, KT needs her own show. Like she's got a good way of talking. She's funny as hell. And she makes really good points when she's like, when she's speaking passionately about something. I was like, I would listen to a podcast by KT.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Right. More people make those podcasts.
Yeah. You need more competition, right?
And you can talk. Then you can talk to Ben Templesmith. Like just chase your dream. Why not?
Well, that's a pretty sad dream if it was to talk to me. I'm so sorry.
Hey man, Ben Templesmith, you're a cool man, and I keep referring to you only as Ben Templesmith. I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna put a nix on that. But going into like
Ben Templesmith the third.
I was gonna say you're really a third. That's neat.
No, I'm the first. Unfortunately,
that's fair.
My surname is the first of its kind, apparently, ever. Maybe.
I was discussing names. I was watching one of your like the recorded one of your live streams from a while back that's just up on YouTube, and you're discussing how you wanted to name your son Hades. I was like, yeah, I can get on board with that.
Oh, you 100%. Sat through that? Jesus Christ.
Yo, okay, so I wasn't even going to talk about this yet. I was eventually going to get to your YouTube.
I need to do more YouTube shit. I'm sorry.
Well, 1, yes, and also 2, we're already totally off the rails, so I guess I'm just going to lean into it.
We'll talk about my art and all that stuff, I promise.
We'll get there. But like,
people want that.
You talked about like me getting through it. That was my day today, because like doing prep and with pandemic stuff, I've been working from home, and kind of looking into what you've done. I was like, oh, hey, he has a YouTube channel. Let me check this out. And it was the painting of the Spider Jerusalem commission. And it was just It was chill. It was relaxing. I just had it on in the background while I was doing my work, and I was like, okay, so if Ben Templesmith ever decides that art isn't his thing, he could do like a career in like ASMR or just like that relaxing shit. It was a very neat thing to just because not only was it cool art, it was Spider Jerusalem, which unfortunately I haven't read the book, but I'm aware of the character. Alex talks about it a lot. But
I'm not talking to you anymore.
Oh no!
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
What did I do? Did I mess it up?
You're not a fan of Transmet? I'm sorry.
You can borrow my Transmat, Jared. It'll be fine. We'll get through it.
You should read it. It's pretty good.
I just haven't gotten there yet. Wait, have I?
No, I don't.
Which one am I thinking of? What's the other one? Hold on.
Planetary.
Yeah, that's the one. That's exactly the one. You knew exactly where I was going because I've read the first trade of.
What just happened?
Insane.
Yeah, those were two big works, like big successful works, I would say.
Yeah, I've read the first trade of Planetary. Was where I was going with that. Anyways, I very much enjoyed.
We're friends again.
Okay, I did it. I saved it. We're back. But I can't even remember. Oh yeah, because we were talking about the Hades thing, and I was very much enjoying the just the atmosphere. It was just painting a commission while interacting with chat a little bit, and then just kind of just talking. And we talked about like currency and talked about Fahrenheit and Celsius, and just mostly, really random.
Yeah, I have to talk about stuff that bugs me because there's not too much other two-way conversation. So
right.
It's mostly those things are done like for my patrons. Mm-hmm. So they're a private YouTube thing, and then I put it public afterwards.
Right.
So they're not the general public. I have no idea how many people I'd eventually get for the general public, but so only my patrons and only a percentage of them get in on the chat for that. So usually I have to make it up myself. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to bitch about here in America, or whatever's bugging me today. Fahrenheit, yes.
Yeah, but
I'm glad it worked. I'm glad you watched it a bit.
It was neat. It was really nice. It was a nice vibe, and also cool art's being made, which is always fun to watch too. So,
thanks.
But yeah,
actually,
more YouTube.
They're pretty hard to do, actually. So,
just the entire like doing a live stream. Or the art.
Like talking to you right now, I'm inking. That's fine because I'm reacting. But to be proactive at the same time as being proactive creatively on the page is a lot harder. Right. And with a camera as well, I'm terribly self-conscious, and I have the face of an elephant man, so I need to go to the doctor. No, I do. I have a lump, but
oh dear.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than just doing audio only.
Is that one of those things that does it take a lot of planning to try and think of what would my patrons want and what could I give them in advance or that they would benefit from being backers that could then eventually make it to public on YouTube or Instagram?
You kind of hit the one thing that I do that I don't think a lot of people do. And I'm not saying I'm good at it, but so I'm one of the few people in comics reliably, although I use the word reliably about myself very sparsely these days, reliably independent in that I'm not a company guy. I don't work for Marvel, DC, or any of the main publishers generally. That's not where my paychecks come from. I don't get paychecks. I only make money off my own back, off my own generally, with few exceptions, of my own self-motivated work. So everything I do, even if it's really a personal work, I'm always having a think and an eye for like, okay, can this be part of something else? Can this be channeled this way to monetize, to finance in some way? Like, who would find this interesting? Because first, my golden rule is I have to find it interesting. I don't pander to anyone, so I won't just do a thing because I hear that's popular now. I won't do it. I'll just do something because I want to do it first and foremost. So doing those were pretty exhausting doing commissions live. So I haven't done some since. Plus, I took a break from online for a bit. Well, yeah. I mean, getting paid to do a commission is great. Then you've done the work, and I can't use I don't own Spider Jerusalem, so it's not like I can use the image in any other way, but I can actually show people as I'm doing it. And if that helps promote, that's great. I'm always trying to think of the stages of a project or an image's life, if I can monetize it somehow for myself. Because smart people do one image and make money off that for the next decade, instead of doing an image every day for an entire decade. So I'm not that smart, but I'm trying. So yes, was the answer yes, I guess, to your question?
Well, because one of the other things that I saw was that you're putting up your Annnnnnnyway webcomic on Instagram, which is about 4 or 5 panels, I guess. But when you check the Patreon, you're up to about 30 pages. So,
yeah.
So again, if you're backing, you get the advanced view.
Well, number one, that's the only fair thing to do for my patrons.
Yeah.
When I call them my patrons, and I know it's a Patreon, and I know most people have heard about Patreon by now. It's essentially, I try to run it as a fan club. Mm-hmm. So it's a fan club. So they're the true fans, and they can jump in and out. That's fine. But they've got to get more than the general public, which plays havoc because I haven't got the greatest memory. So I forget, like, okay, I posted that. Like, no, I posted that to the fans, but not to the real world. But so Annnnnnnyway is free on Instagram. It's an Instagram comic, 4 pages a week. I hate doing this pluggy thing. But I only recently started that publicly, but it's been going privately for a while. And because 2 things, it's kind of my riff on Conan the Barbarian, because I loved Conan growing up. And I keep rewatching the movies as well. And I used to read the novels, as well as the comics. And because I haven't really seen a proper comic done on Instagram, like to its format. So I just wanted to do square pages and ultimately make a square page book as well. So that I can put that off my list, because I think it could be a cool format. And if that goes anywhere, there'll be plenty of more stories. So, but the theory behind it was giving things away for free builds awareness. Plus, it's also giving back. It may gain new fans. That's great. But the first thing I did, my first comic project on my fan club Patreon thing, I actually gave away for free as well. It was on my blog every couple of days, by a page every couple of days. So, and that did way better than things I've kept exclusive to the Patreon. So I don't know if it's just building awareness or the nature of the project and the genre or what, but it's time to get back out there and just give it away. So it may go away at some point. I may delete it all, but for now, the whole story will be up. So people can watch it for free, read it for free on Templesmith on Instagram. There is my shameless plug. Thank you for bringing that up.
So as you produce that and as you make that, it's all yours. Do you get ahead on writing it, or do you draw it and create it as you come up with the story, or like how far ahead in the script are you versus the art?
I know the rough ending for this one, but I haven't written it all out. This one, I was really I laid out some pages because I know the actions of the basic story, but I hadn't been writing it. Usually I write dialogue long before I even do the layouts. Mm-hmm. But with this one, I haven't been doing that. So I've been just wheeling and dealing by the seat of my pants. I've probably got like 15 pages left to draw for the whole thing before I finish it. I like to be a little ahead so that I can actually jump on things when I need to and not have to worry about getting one page done for, in 3 hours for when it's due. Because the Patreon is kind of like my editor as well, which is really good because it keeps me more current than not getting back to people and having people scream at me. So it's been really good that way.
It's one of those. I just got
given a coffee, so I was trying to do 2 things at once.
Oh, the coffee arrived.
Be quiet while I got my coffee.
Nice. I'm glad the coffee has arrived We were preemptively warned that coffee may be happening, so
Yeah.
it's happened. And about the Ernak, I really dig the like the aesthetic of it, because I don't think I've ever seen like an ongoing webcomic on Instagram, and at least personally, they may be out there. I don't know. But this is the first one that I've come across that like I'm up to date with, and that's being actively, because as of right now, there are 2 chapters available.
Yeah, it only started 2 weeks ago, so yeah, 4
Right.
pages
Yep.
a week will be the thing. Plus, then I always put like the little map of the world, and then the final page is like, yeah, it's an Instagram comic every Monday. So, and then there's the hashtag, so hopefully no one else uses it, and you can click on the hashtag and read the whole thing eventually, or catch up.
Right.
Wouldn't be hard to do, hopefully.
That's a good idea.
So if depending on if whoever's listening to this, if this is recent, it's very easy to catch up. Otherwise, go and check out Templesmith on Instagram, and you can read all about Ernak. Now I don't know how much you want to kind of get into this, but like I'm also interested in just talking about your love of Conan, and I think Alex might be able to get on board with that. Alex being
who the fuck doesn't love Conan the Barbarian? I mean, who doesn't have great feelings about like that old property?
So
like one of the quintessential sword and sorcery kind of fantasy. Come on.
So we did a whole episode on Conan when Marvel got the rights back, which I guess what's your opinion on Marvel producing their Conan books, but then also Ablaze producing those Sumerian titles as at the same time?
Blazes, I need to buy them because they're actually the real Conan.
Oh, really?
Here's the thing. I grew up reading Conan the Barbarian, which was done by Marvel. I'm going to say the name wrong. Val Seminick's art. Some of those stories, like I went back and read them the other day, and that's what helped get me back into Conan. Like, oh yeah, I want to do something like that. But I've seen Conan in the Avengers or some shit now, and all this other stuff. It's like I kind of really am repelled by anything Marvel are attempting to do with the other loves of my life, Aliens and Predator, and Conan, and inserting them into superhero universes. I'm not a big fan of crossovers to begin with, let alone properties IP that is completely mismatched, I think. And it's like, no. So the Blaze stuff, which is literally the original stories just adapted, and that's how they can get away with it because they are public domain. Yeah, Conan's fucking public domain, but you have to be careful with the trademarks and stuff. So like they're much better to me. So yeah, I haven't read modern Conan from Marvel for a long time. Well, yeah, for a very long time. I've only read the old stuff,
right,
which I love. So.
Well, like when
but not the true. Well, yeah, even the truly old stuff was Sal Buscema as well,
and Roy Thomas, I believe.
Yeah, and Roy Thomas. Yes, obviously. Oh yeah, Roy Thomas wrote the ones I was initially getting into Conan from too. So can't forget Roy.
when it was announced that like the title was coming back, and I declared like I just want Conan to stay in Hyperborea and just not like have crossovers. We don't need him meeting Wolverine or anything. Just leave him where he is. But I knew it was going to happen because there's already promo art of him hanging out with Black Widow or whatever.
It just pissed me off, honestly.
It's not necessary.
He's just a big dude with a sword. He has no superpowers. He's just, it's like you can't, no. And it's, I don't know.
And
I don't know, mate. Destroyed it for me. When I saw that, it's like, yeah, I can check out now.
And I looked into
Sorry, Marvel.
Ablaze when they started, coming out with issues, and I saw it was partially a matter of they were international printers, so they got the international license to make Conan. But that also meant
I love that you say international. Let's call them for what they are, European.
Okay, yes, that's more correct.
For specific reason that European copyright law. I'm not sure about other parts of the world, but certainly the Europeans, things become public domain much earlier.
Okay.
Which is great, especially for stuff like I do like Lovecraft stuff. But the legacy owners of Conan, bloodsuckers, parasitic bloodsuckers that they are, still went after them and still tried to make life terrible for them for a while. Because Marvel don't own Conan; they only own a right to a license, basically.
Right.
You know, they never created Conan. They're not the heirs of the estate. So hopefully they'll lose it all one day. Like Conan should just be public domain. But literally the name Conan the Barbarian and such will still be trademarked, so you still can't use them technically unless you pay them. I've had to delve into all of this stuff for various reasons for things in the past, so it sucks. But yeah, money talks. It's sorry to keep interrupting you. Keep going.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's frustrating every time there's a new edition of it's Conan and Red Nails. It's the Red Nails story. But then I try to read it, and it's nothing like the Robert Howard Red Nails when he was writing for pulp magazines. It's like, well, they've changed this. Or like he enters the Citadel for about 5 minutes, then comes back out again because he encountered one monster. And it's like, that's not the Red Nails story. But yet somehow there's been 4 different comic book versions printed up. And it's frustrating.
Yeah, but are all those officially licensed versions? Like they've paid money to have the right to do whatever they want?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So they've got like editorial, because there's a business behind it. So what I'm saying is like, well, I don't know. It's like the argument for being public domain means anyone can do whatever they want with it.
Right.
They can turn Conan into a bunny rabbit, and have the same story or do what they want. Same with Shakespeare. You can do various takes on Shakespeare. I'm all for that, but real fans and real passionate people, creators about it, will want to do the original stories as well. And I look forward to eventually, like say Daniel Warren Johnson doing a straight Conan adaptation or something of one of his stories or something like that. I'd kill for a lot of artists to be doing Conan, but like real Conan, not just Conan with the Avengers or anything like that. Conan and Howard the Duck palling around or some shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's coming. I don't fault Marvel for making money. That is their purpose. They will try to monetize the shit out of anything they own if they're smart about it, obviously. But I don't have to agree with the decisions.
Okay, right. Okay, hang on. So Conan and the Avengers is bad. I agree with that. But what about a Conan and Hellboy crossover?
You're talking to someone. I'm just not a fan of crossovers generally, unless literally you've built into the IP that it can go anywhere and do anything to make it more believable. It's like Conan's still just a dude with a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he fights monsters and stuff, but Hellboy is his own world too. I'm not a fan of crossovers in general. I'm sorry. Look, get Mignola on a fucking Conan story. I'll buy the shit out of that. Holy shit, that would be good. Can you imagine? Oh,
that would
thanks for getting me all hot and bothered for that now.
Yeah, that's one of the. Now I'm just thinking, and it doesn't make for good radio to just sit here and think about something that I wish could happen. But hey, now we have Ernak, we have Anita to get back on the.
Ernak's going to go all around his little world, by the way. So nice. I have vague ideas, but nothing central yet. But then I liked a big war. So
I liked the way you put it in the description. It's having fun with Conan just without Conan. We're gonna leave Conan where he is because legalities and all that stuff, and then I'm just gonna kind of maybe same universe type deal. So it's like I don't know if you consider it like a love letter to Conan or if it's just I want to do something like Conan. But you can see it on Instagram.
Yeah, I wanted to draw buff dudes with swords and loincloths and not much of that.
Give the people what they want.
There's the whole culture wars going on right now with diversity and inclusivity in content, right? Mm-hmm. I get that. I see both sides. I see like some people don't like, my favorite character from the last 40 years they've now changed the gender or the race or whatever the fuck, and they're upset. Like I get that because you get attached to a thing. The big point on that is one, you've fallen in love with a corporate-owned, thus psychopathic, because corporations are psychopaths. They never die, and they're only intent on one thing, which is making money.
Yeah.
Despite whatever else they say, because they're psychopaths. Remember that as an entity, they're psychopathic. yeah, you don't own that, dude. They can do whatever they want, and they will. So you have no control over something you love. Although it'd kind of be fucked. You should let something you love have its own mind anyway. But so you fucked yourself there, right? I love Captain America, and now he's a Mexican. Say, I'm just making this up,
Right.
and so that placed your own prejudices there. And then, what was the other point? Well, but at the same token, I can see that you've put all that time and investment in, and then it's changed, and that's happening across all sorts of media right now. People put their time and money really into like Star Wars and all sorts of things, and then only to have them become totally different and totally new now. I can see why they do that too for new generations, trying to revamp things, trying to keep old stale things fresh. I get that too. But the easiest way, instead of changing what's already gone before, changing canon, which I don't like generally, certainly in the Star Wars universe, I like things the way they were. To a degree. So, like, I like The Mandalorian, but I'm not a huge fan of the most recent trilogy. I'm not alone in that. That's just because I'm a fan. But the best way to do that is, and to be honest, creatively as well and intellectually, is to create your own new thing. It's like, okay, we need more. If you need more diverse characters of certain kinds, great. I don't disagree. Make new ones. But we're talking about an industry, especially in comics, that are all about legacy and about trying to keep 50-year-old characters from being stale and constantly reinventing them. Mm-hmm. They cannot create, with very rare exception, new things. And I'm talking about the corporates, not Image Comics, which anyone can do anything. They can't create new things, so they won't create just a random new character that becomes big. Well, because it's risky for them, they'd rather stick with what they already know, or create a very derivative, obvious knockoff of it to be on the safe side. So I understand why people get upset by that. So I, in a long-winded answer, trying not to get myself in too much trouble, said, fuck it, I'm not doing Conan, I'm doing my own version. He's just this bloke called Ernek. And he's going to have a lot more of a acidic tongue, I think, than Conan would. Conan was kind of big and dumb in many ways. So Ernek's going to be pretty dumb, but at least he'll go down with some good swear words, I think. He's going to be praying to the genitals of gods an awful lot.
As one should,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Conan's god, Crom, doesn't do shit.
No.
But, you just hope to impress him. So Ernek's god, I forget his name right now because I only made it up the other day for dialogue purposes, Baranth or something. It's all about impressing him because he's the god of cruel jokes and stuff like that. So it's like you've got to, if you're going to do something, do it really in a way that'll make the god laugh and tickle his balls, so to speak. He's all about his balls. It's like, if you tickle his balls, you'll get something wonderful or some shit. I don't know. It's religion. I don't pretend to understand religion in the first place.
No, there's no understanding.
But like, as with the Catholics, it all comes down to your genitals.
Oh, no.
Well, it does in so many ways, especially.
Yeah.
Well, and Judaism and Islam, it's certainly, they have their own fair share of things about dicks. So cutting bits off at least. So, hey, yeah. So even conservative people should like this book because it's focused on things they value highly. Like, maybe I need to do a whole story on circumcision. I don't know. Maybe I will.
I've never seen one before, so you could be breaking ground. It's all about getting that new thing that people haven't seen.
You know that ancient Romans used to find Jews fascinating because of circumcision? They thought that was hilarious and really interesting and weird.
Huh.
It's like, wait, you chopped that bit off?
You just do that.
Yeah, because they were doing it for thousands of years. So, see, tangents. I told you, tangents.
So
yes, Conan is Ernak, but not really Conan, obviously. It's not real. I didn't want to do Conan. I made my own thing.
Right.
Which I agree with. So if you love something and want to see change, do your own version. And anyone can do that. And it's like, as long as legally you don't get into too much hot water with names, you're fine.
That advice works for me.
Yeah, right. Like,
you just cut me off sometimes. You really should.
Honestly, it's just fun to listen.
I don't talk to many people.
We're very lonely. But
my wife doesn't want to hear all this shit.
I mean, it's like essentially it's kind of like chatting at a table at a convention. This is like it's like a way of getting it out.
I would say the same thing at a con. Yeah,
we've had the pleasure of chatting. I remember distinctly, and it popped up a little bit in the YouTube video that I was watching today when you were from one of your past live streams, talking about how sometimes the initial interaction with a guest at a table can be a little dicey because you don't know how, you refer to yourself as a cheeky bastard, and sometimes another cheeky bastard might come up and throw some cheek your way, and it's like, how do I respond to this? How cheeky am I going to be? Am I going to tell this guy to fuck off? Am I going to, or like, are we going to be friends? And I distinctly thought back to when one year at Boston Comic-Con, I don't remember what year specifically, it was 4 or 5 years ago. This is back when we had a table there with our friend Brett, who does the art, and then we had the podcast and we shared a table, and it was fun. And one year we tried to generate interest in the show, and we created a scavenger hunt at the show, and anyone who completed the scavenger hunt would get a free pin, because we have the enamel pins, which are available on ombpodcast.bigcartel.com. And part of the scavenger hunt was we were trying to think of like cool comic book stuff that people would know or be able to find at a show. Like, take selfies with 5 people cosplaying as Joker, because there's always going to be people cosplaying as Joker. And one of the things we were like, oh, this would be neat. It would be one of the items was, what color is Ben Templesmith's tie? And I remember we went up to you and we were like, oh, hey, we did the scavenger hunt, and like we told you about the tie thing, and you gave us this look of like, what the fuck?
Was it like a knowing what the fuck? Like, oh, that makes sense now?
It was more like I don't really trust this quite yet. I'm waiting for you to finish telling me the story.
The two of us goofballs, we walk up and we say, so you're in our scavenger hunt. and to us it's humorous because we know you always dress so well when you go to conventions. You're wearing a full suit, a vest, and a tie. So it's like, what color is this tie gonna be? And we say we have a scavenger hunt and you're part of it, and you go, I don't have to do anything, right? We're like, no sir, no, they can just look at you from over there.
Dudes, I have to tell you, okay, you may have introduced me to the concept of scavenger hunts. It's not, like in Australia, growing up, I've never heard of the damn thing. I don't know anything about such thing. Same as a potluck. These are things, like, I learn things as I go. But also, I was terrified that I had to do something and that I'd been roped into something without knowing what the fuck or agreeing to it. So it's like, what is this? What, scavengers? It's like, is there vultures involved? What the fuck?
Yeah, I could see where the disconnect.
You can usually prop anytime, but
we tried. No one completed the scavenger hunt. No. I don't think anyone tried the scavenger hunt. But we gave it a shot, and it was also our way of like, spreading. If we wanted to sit here and pat ourselves on the back, it's like if someone who maybe wasn't aware of who Ben Templesmith was, they could be like, oh, let's go to this table. We need to find out what color tie he's wearing apparently. We tried. We gave it a shot.
All you did was guarantee a few people walked by and just stared at me for a second. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? Why are these people just like looking at? That's weird.
That's saying
what have happened.
That they can't all be bangers, but we tried. But anyways, that was our like.
I thank you in now for what you did then.
That was my very long way of saying like because like after this scavenger hunt introduction and potentially ruining any future relationship with you, we were able to just sit and chat for a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. And I was like, because like especially me. I'm very socially awkward in person. I don't do well talking with people who I admire and who make cool things that I like. I get very embarrassed, and I feel like I'm wasting people's time. And I
Dude, you're literally at a convention. That's what we're meant to do.
I know.
That's why I go, honestly.
But
I get it. No, I get it.
Yeah, and like I left the interaction, I was like, "Yo, Ben Templesmith is fucking cool." It's just one of those like reassuring things, and we say it all the time on the show, like when we talk to artists and stuff. Like, it's just really neat to know that the people you look up to and the people who like make the things that you really like are also good people.
I can't claim I'm a good person, but I do try.
Right, at least friendly, nice to people, to geeks like us. But
I do hear it occasionally, like people come up and go, "Oh, you're so much nicer," and like than who? And they go, they won't tell me than who, but the word gets around sometimes. I'm not naming names or anything, but I get the impression that some people, like artists, creators, go to a con and they don't want to meet people. It's like, that's the entire point of being there. You have to be a people person to a degree when you're at a show. You have to be nice to people. You can't be pissed off that they want to talk to you, dude, because you're there for that. And I like that because it's the only realness I get. Otherwise, I sit at a desk alone in my room doing this shit. So you want some feedback,
It's just like, I imagine some, and I'm not trying to make excuses for bad guests, but like, maybe sometimes they just get worn down with the people who have the carts of thousands of books and they just slam down a stack and it's, sign all these mule so I can sell them on the internet.
I would never begrudge that on two levels. One, you bought it, it's yours, you do what you want with it. Two, you bought it, which means you supported me, which means you helped pay my rent at some point, which means, I can sign you damn books. That's not the hardest thing in the world to do. But I mean, it's giving back as much as anything. I had a really good point and I just lost it because I took a sip of my coffee. But
that damn coffee.
No, I would never. Yeah, this is the thing. So you might get me when I'm down, only because it's close to the end of the day, and I'm literally exhausted from talking constantly and working constantly because I do commissions the whole time too, usually. And it's not people who want normal conversation because they know my work at all and they want to have a nice chat. It's people that are just, I'm gonna call them time wasters in that way, where they've turned up to a con, they don't know much about. I mean, they might be there for Marvel, DC, movie stuff, whatnot, but they don't know much about comics. But they've wandered into Artist Alley. It's 4 p.m. and the show closes at 5 or 6 on the last day, and they just want to talk about nothing to soak up time with people. Those sorts.
Yeah.
That's right. When you might start getting me going. Yeah, because I'm battling to finish a commission too, and I'm dead on my feet. It's like that's the one bad time. But other than that,
haven't eaten in 12 hours.
Usually I might have one energy bar during the day, and then I'm looking forward to that dinner at night. I need that food. Like that's my relief and my time to celebrate because I finished a show or had a good day or whatever, and can chat with friends. So more chat, but it's a different kind of brain activity.
And you never got your convention diaper either.
Well, I'd be more relaxed if I was wearing my convention diaper. I think that should be a thing. Have you seen bathrooms at some cons? Ugh.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They're pretty brutal. It's like people just intentionally miss.
I'm always disgusted. I mean, I can't say I've never not accidentally missed or got a splash somewhere.
We've all been there.
But there are some people. It's like toilet training. I thought was a universal thing, but apparently not. Some parents never toilet train their children. They just say, look, if it's, as long as it's like into the west or to the east, that's fine. That's it. Just piss that direction. That's fine. No, get it in the hole. Like so many things, get it in the hole.
Yeah, it's a mantra. It's a life lesson. Words to live by. That's what I was going for.
Yeah. So either way, I hope I made a reasonable impression at a show with you that I met you. I didn't piss you off or anything because I'm always paranoid about that too. I want people to have good experiences. Honestly, that's why you go.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was getting at. Is the time? Though I believe it's the only time that I've been to like your table and actively engaged in conversation. And I distinctly remember it being very positive. And I was like, okay, that was cool. Even with the tie thing, it was cool. By the way, I believe the tie was black that year.
Yeah, I only ever wear black or grey ties. I alternate each day. So,
Yep.
for future reference, anyone with a scavenger hunt, it's grey or black.
Anyone else doing a convention scavenger hunt? Oh man, those good times. Which man, tabling at a convention, you mentioned like being exhausted. It's even the tabling that we did where we might talk to like one person every half hour who's really just kind of interested in Brett stuff, but they like felt bad and just turned to us and like, what do you do? It's exhausting. Like it is because like even just finding food can be a beast because you can't just leave. It's no, I have a table to manage, and like especially like you have merch and you're doing paintings. And
that also goes back to the little tirade I had about Fan Expo. In that, you need 2 chairs because a lot of people travel with their wives or partners or whoever they are, and like my wife's one job is to go and grab coffee, and it may take a long time standing in line for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'd rather she didn't have to do that. But like she saves my life with a coffee, going and get or manning a table while I have to go on a bathroom break, which is the other priceless thing. So you do need that second person. And some cons do have a volunteer, but that's hard to get them sometimes because you have to leave your table to go and find one. So how do you do that? So cons are a lot of work. You're there for 12 hours a day sometimes, and I'm doing commissions and I'm talking to people because that's why I'm there. But I wouldn't trade that. I know some creators look down on cons and people going to cons now because like, I can do it all online. I can do a Kickstarter and make $500,000 or whatever instead of having to slog it out at cons. It's like, well, there are good cons and bad cons, but we don't do comic. Like, if you're smart, you realize you don't do comics. We do experiences. We sell experiences, whether it's on paper, whether it's giving people extra things or signed things. But we're selling an experience and a connection to the person that made that. That's where the value comes in. Besides the actual work itself and its entertainment value, you have to add that layer on top. And that cons are big for that. Chatting and meeting people. I mean, it's healthy for me too. But like, I love meeting people that are going to tell me I'm great. Who wouldn't? But I'd like to hear I don't like sycophants though. I like hearing what people don't like about my work. I wouldn't like it, but I'm happy to hear it. I want feedback to a degree.
Once we're like through all of this stuff and with pandemic and once things are open, I mean, I know New York Comic Con just announced yesterday they're trying to put on a show this year. More dates have been coming out.
Like 8 shows.
Sorry?
They're trying to put on like 8 shows.
Yeah, they announced New York Comic Con and C2E2 and ECCC and we have a local show, Kineticon. They're trying to do something in like September, I think, and but that's neither here nor there. People's comfort levels are kind of all over the place. Once stuff starts to open again, once vaccinations and all that stuff are out of the way, and it's safe to go to shows again. Is there any particular show that you're especially would be looking forward to go to again?
Probably Emerald City Comic Con because I had it snatched away from me the other year.
Yeah.
Was it last year? Yeah, was it last year or the year before? Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one to not like Chicago Comic Con. The C2E2 was the last con I did, and we were just talking casually about the virus is spreading. Oh, maybe it'll hit us here. It's like, yeah, little did we know.
And Tony caught it like a month later.
Mm-hmm. Which makes me believe I caught it maybe, but I didn't. Here's the thing. I did 2 shows last year, right before the pandemic. One in February, then C2E2 in March. I did a con in Fairbanks, Alaska. And the day after I got back from that, I felt dreadful in a weird way, but only for a day. And it wasn't like a cold or a flu or it wasn't any of those things. I just felt exhausted. And not in the normal way either. It was like, am I coming down with something? This is weird. And
not
then I was
the usual like
con
crud.
Yeah, maybe I rarely get con crud because one thing I don't do is I don't eat on the show floor at the show. I don't use my hands for anything but drawing and shaking hands.
Huh.
I don't put anything in my mouth like that. So I don't get concried much at all. So, and that was middle to late February before the Chicago. I don't think I have it. I've never had an antibody test. But and my wife never had anything, and she gets sick at the drop of a hat, so she was fine. So I doubt we had it, and I did dodge a bullet at Chicago apparently. So, but I'm not afraid, because by the time these shows roll up, anyone responsible should have had their vaccine at that point. There should be no excuses.
Yep.
Certainly, September maybe a bit iffy. August probably a little more iffy, but then October, November, yeah, I think anyone who's normal will have vaccinated and to be prepared to go out into the wide world. So I'm not too worried. Doesn't mean we don't get it though, so we'll have to still wear masks. It just means we won't die from it. So it'll just be a small thing. That's what people forget. Still got to wear a mask.
Yep. You had mentioned
to be responsible. Yeah. We don't want it to just become like the regular flu. It's still.
You had mentioned Alaska.
Yeah, I love Alaska.
Doing a convention up there. Is it, this might be a dumb question. Is 30 Days of Night more popular there because of where the book takes place, or is it just a regular show where anything sells?
Well, the only show I've done in Alaska was that one. Mm-hmm. And that's a long time after the movie came out, really, which was 2007. So the movie was never filmed in Alaska at all or anything like that. It was filmed in New Zealand. So, I mean, there's not many people in Alaska, let alone comic readers. So we didn't have too much of I've never had too many interactions noticeably from people in Alaska loving or hating the book. So, yeah. And I'd never heard of the town. I've been there now, but I've never heard of the town. And
I wasn't
the
sure.
idea that you can have whale bones as gateways and stuff like this, and all sorts of stuff. So now I understand things.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if, the comic taking place up there in any of the, the spin-offs. And
I honestly didn't notice any uptick, but it is like one of literally my oldest and most successful, because the Anyway is down now, books I've ever done. So I still get a few people wanting it signed, but there's so many copies of that book out there, and I must have signed almost all of them at this point. So no, never noticed an uptick in Alaska. I mean, it was in Fairbanks, which is the last stop before you get to, I can't remember the real name of it now, because they changed it to the native name, the indigenous name, but Barrow. I've been to Barrow. Forgive me for not saying its real name, but yeah. And there was no noticeable uptick. It was great, though, because it was February and there was snow everywhere. 6 months worth of snow. Or 8 months worth of snow? Yeah, it's great. I would go back. They want me back, hopefully.
So since you're mostly known as a horror comic artist and writer, do you make what you produce, do you try to find what's scary or disturbing or horrific for your readers, or is it something that you also find scary or disturbing? Like, are you making it for yourself or for your fans?
I thought we already covered this, man. That was probably on the pre-show thing. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. But I'm very adamant that the one thing people have in this world that is attractive, especially in politics, but in almost anything, is authenticity, right? Mm-hmm. What that means is if they can smell you're a faker, they don't like that. You're not going to be as successful as if you're a grassroots guy or girl coming up. I do things for me first, always. Like, because I am independent that way, I'm not a company guy. I don't work for any main publisher, generally speaking. I do self-motivated projects. So they have to interest me first. So I have to think, oh, I'd like this. I would read a book like the one I'm doing is my what do you call it? It's the thing I come in with first and foremost. So, and I'm hoping there are other people out there that might dig what I do, because I figure if I like it, maybe other people will too. And I know I'm niche, so I'm not made for general audiences, but I'm not trying to pander to anyone. I'm not trying to I think these people are like this. I think this is popular this month, or this cultural cycle, whatever, so I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do it because I feel like I want to do it, or because I want to give my spin on something. or because I do think it's fun. Usually what I think is funny is horror to other people, because I like sick horror. So I can't say, oh, I think this is nasty. I'll just say, I think I would laugh at the fuck out of this. Having a demon having a dildo shoved in his mouth or something like that. So yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I do horror comedy more than horror.
Right.
So
I was trying to bring it down more to like page by page, like an art piece as itself, and not so much projects.
You mean like a literal page of art?
Yeah.
You mean besides the writing of it? You mean like within the art itself?
So let's say when you're making,
let's quantify this.
when you want to make another some kind of tentacle monster, is it just how you want to make it seem imposing and scary to how you would view it versus what the common everyday person would think is disturbing to them, I guess?
Well, I guess the other thing is I long ago gave up trying to figure out how other people perceive things, because they will perceive things the way they will. I've had some of the in my opinion, shittiest art I've ever done, which is really reaching because a lot of my art is shitty. Be some of my more popular art with sections of the community. That's like, well, good. I'll take that. But I just do it purely for me, man. I do what I think looks cool. And then if other people like it, great. Otherwise, it's just my way of drawing and my way of my visual ideas, I guess. It's like, yeah, I'm doing it for no one but myself, honestly. Okay. I mean, I do always hope, like, oh, if I draw this page really well to the best of my ability, my way, maybe someone will like it and buy it or think it's cool. But, I have to like it first. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to please an editor, put it that way either. Mm-hmm. So, does that answer it?
Yes, that does.
No, you delved into the detail on that, so I had to okay, in what way do you mean? So, I like
we're very much into the how it happens and how it gets made and like how people come up with ideas. And because I mean I can only speak for myself. I'm not good at creating and and building something. I need to be told how to build it. I think that's why I like Lego sets so much. It's just I have the set things and I have instructions and it tells me how to make the thing, as opposed to, I really like Conan, so I'm going to create a character, kind of like Conan, and then just kind of go from there. That kind of shit terrifies me. I couldn't imagine doing that.
It terrifies an awful lot of comic people as well, honestly. You get a lot of people artists especially. There are some artists out there that, it's the weird thing in comics, there are people out there that can't literally do comics unless they're told to in a script. Like they don't have the storytelling ability, but they work for the mainline publishers. That's great because they're told what to do. Literally, they can make it make sense. And as long as I'm in sync with a writer, honestly, it is a lot easier, although I'm worried about pleasing them, with what I'm doing. Following their directions, that's fine, as long as they understand that, like someone like Warren Ellis, he leaves a lot of the storytelling, the true storytelling, up to the artist. If he knows who the artist is he's working with, he'll play to their strengths. So it's like it's much easier to work with a script like that than just doing it on my own. Although on my own there's so many possibilities, but I don't know, it's a mindset thing. It's the same way of not freaking out that I don't have a paycheck coming every month and I have to make my own living, my own way. I'm small business instead. So yeah, it's a mindset thing. Some people are okay with it. It's like having your own store, being your own boss versus being an employee, which most people are. Mm-hmm. Most people have no clue about the risk versus reward aspect of like being completely on your own and relying on your own wherewithal to make money that month, sort of thing.
Do you think that being in that, because that honestly also scares the absolute shit out of me, the thought of, okay, time to make this month's money, do you think that Patreon is something that...
Solicited advice. I love talking about my main goal, there's not many things I believe in, or okay, there are, obviously, but the biggest one is empowering specifically artists, but creatives in general, to be the people that make the most money off what they create than anyone else, right? Which is not usually true for Marvel DC stuff. Although I guess it is, maybe, depending on the sales numbers. You get paid pretty well to do that stuff. But I want, if you create something, you should get more than 50% of any profit from whatever that work is, right? That's my main goal in life, especially for me. So Patreon is really good. I would recommend it if you already have a fan base, a following who like your stuff. And when I say your stuff, I don't mean Superman. Mm-hmm. I don't mean Captain America. I don't mean characters you don't know, because a lot of and it's curious though, because sometimes it does translate to creators and sometimes it doesn't. Like a creator can do like one of the biggest books out there, whatever one is, Batman, and then they can move to doing their own thing. And yes, sometimes there'll be translation to, oh, those people will follow you. But a lot of those people also are only there for Batman. They don't give a shit. Forgive my French. They don't give a shit who's drawing or writing it. They just like Batman. Right. And that's fine too, because that's what the company is banking on. That's where their value is. And that's where their power comes from and what they can dictate. So if you have your own honest-to-God following of people to a degree, Patreon is great, because if you treat it like a fan club, if you give them behind the scenes and special stuff, one, that's what I would love from following someone. I would love that. So I figured other people would too, and they kind of do. But Patreon really only works. The key to Patreon, because it is that way, and it's self-motivated, it only works if you are going to do the thing anyway. Don't do it just for that. Do it because it has a life, because it's going to go somewhere as well. Because Patreon will help you make it, and then you've got to capitalize on it after that. So, I mean, I do a few things just for the patrons, but they get to see everything I do. Pretty much every comic I do goes through Patreon now. So they see the behind the scenes workings of things, if I'm legally allowed to show. But what was your question? It was how good is Patreon? Yeah, pretty good.
Right, like tools for
treat it like a fan club.
making one's own living when they don't have that steady paycheck, when they have to create their own paycheck. Yeah.
It is a way of stabilizing somewhat and giving you some sort of regular income. I mean, once a month, if you choose to do it that way. It does help things a little. It evens things out. I started mine in 2016, so I know that I'd probably be dead in a ditch by now if I hadn't started a Patreon. I started it with nothing in the bank, pretty much. I just blew all my money on moving to a new city, and realized, oh, my money's gone. There goes my savings. There goes my buffer, and because also I shelled out. And I'm still in the process of fixing up a very old Kickstarter that my former business partner left me in the lurch on with all the shipping costs, even though I never got the money. So I'm in debt for that. So I still got a little bit to pay back from that. So anyway, I was in a financial hole, still am, but Patreon enabled me to say, hey, look, I want to do this book. I'm going to do this book anyway. Come and see. And it helped. And this is the book it's called Black Holers, and I actually gave it away for free online to begin with anyway. So it got enough people watching me do all the process work and getting their own printings of it. My Patreon when I say it's a fan club, they get their own limited edition books from me. So I make my own. I'm a publisher, I guess. It saved my bacon that way, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's a good model, I think. But Patreon really only works if you already have at least a slight established following. Mm-hmm. It's not like Kickstarter where everyone just browses it, unfortunately. I mean, maybe they've changed a bit. I haven't been on it like that in a long time. But you've still got to use traditional social media to probably build an audience first that would be interested in your work before you take that step, maybe. But Patreon definitely has changed the landscape in a good way. And I'm happy to say I was one of the early adopters. And I mean that in a way that, like, I get a cheaper rate of the percentage fees or whatnot. I realized that the other day. It's like, oh, I'm one of I get like the founder fee or some shit.
Huh.
So I'm like, oh, it's more attractive for me to stay on it than it is for new people. Unfortunately, for newer people, they get a slightly higher fee or something, but it's still really good. I'm not shitting on it. It's still really good, but it pays to be an early adopter sometimes, and I'm rarely an early adopter. Although I did do Kickstarters before they were cool too, just so you know.
For the record.
Yeah, I've done did like 5 or 6 or something. I was involved in them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
To hype your Patreon, we're friends with the founder of a Facebook group. Sorry, what?
I'm so sorry. I keep interjecting. I call it the Squid Army now because I'm trying to like make it as a fan club type.
No, that's
thing.
cooler.
So,
okay.
Please, sorry to interrupt. I apologize.
It's okay. We're friends with a founder of a Facebook group, and the group is called Sketch Prices. And it's a group where people who get sketches at conventions can post their art, and then they also post what they paid for them. So next time I want to go to a convention and maybe say, oh, I want to get a commission from Ben Templesmith, I could see examples of what other people got and how much they paid for it. And so one member posted, he is in your Squid Army. He got a original page of Warmer Gentleman Corpse Dark Uterus. And he said he got the page, he got 2 prints, a sticker, a sketch, and it's in like this hot black envelope with a wax seal. And he's like, it's one of the best deals I've ever gotten for art.
Well, he would be one of my, unless he bought it off. Okay, so I'll spill the beans a little more on the Patreon. Okay, the Squid Army. Okay, so you can back me for I don't want to sound like a salesman. I hate that shit. But if at the lowest level of backing, you just get to see the blog of all the process, the random things I do. A little higher than that, and you get the full process work of the comics, of the actual stories I'm making. And then if you back me at a higher level a month, you'll eventually get, usually every 3 or 4 months, a physical book of the damn finished book that I've just printed for that, right? And it's not just a book. It comes in, as you said, an envelope, a wax sealed envelope with extra prints and things, because another thing I do, I stupidly make more work for myself. I do like 2 or 3 alternate covers and then put it up for a vote. And which cover do you want? Which cover should be on the book for this edition of 100 or 200 or whatever it is? And so they choose, and then the other 2 usually get laid in the prints. And I'm including stickers or pins or things. So, but what prompted me to say this is because the other way you can get it is every Patreon backer Squid Army member still has access, regardless of what they pay, to a private online store, password protected. So they can buy what I've made anyway as well. So you don't have to contribute, although it really helps me with the printing of the book and shipping and my rent. But yeah, you can pick it up that way too. But it sounds like he was a regular member. So he forgot that he was paying $28 a month. And then he just got something in the mail from me, which is great. Like you said, you're selling experiences. I'm trying to give someone an experience, even if I'm not there.
It's one of the, like, because I follow a handful of people on Patreon, and I was actually telling Alex before we even connected with you, like my Patreon like charges have gone down because I've seen like almost half of the people that I was supporting have just stopped making stuff. They stopped taking funds, or they just straight up shut down their account. So it's cool to see that, you know, you've been there since pretty early on, but also there's a bunch of different levels. You know, people can back you at ranging anywhere from $2 up to $180. You know, and it all depends on how much you want to spend, and also you get a bunch of stuff depending on what level you're back at. One thing you did mention your store as well, which there is the regular store at 7. I can't help it. You know, I know we've been trying to avoid like sounding so.
No, this is different because we're literally talking the more business side of it. I hope some creatives are listening to it to plan for the future if they're starting out or whatnot. It's like this is how I've managed to eke out a living,
right?
At least for the past few years. Because I'll talk more about it. Yeah, the public store is
is 78squid.inc.
78, literally the number 78squid.inc, because apparently you can get .inc now as well. So here's the thing. I fucked up the renewal on 78squid.com and some fucking corporation nabbed it. And now it's just some bullshit page. So I go, well, fuck it. It's ink now. I'm not buying it back on.
It's very much on brand. I got kind of not betrayed. I don't want to say cock blocked either, but and this is I'll probably get us into another real nice tangent. I saw that you did Dune-tober, and
yeah, I did. Yeah,
I read Dune for the first time, maybe 6 months ago, and I was like, "Oh, sweet! All of the Dune-tobers are right here on the website, and I have my pick from whichever one I might want to." Oh, that's sold out. Okay, that one's sold out too. They're all sold out. Cool.
I have like 3 left. I was going through them the other day. I have like the Emperor left, and I have what's his? Oh shit! He's in the. Not Fade, the other guy, the Beast, Raban. We got the Beast and one other one left. They strangely haven't sold, and I guess people don't look at them anymore because most of them are sold out because it was like 30 something.
Yeah, that's the other crazy part. There was 33, I think, paintings of Dune that you did all within the span of a month, which is
it killed me.
Incredible.
It killed me because I used acrylic ink, colored acrylic ink, so each one's a color painting as well. Which is a lot more work than doing it tonally and then just putting it in Photoshop and fixing it up. So, yeah, and I made a little printed collection of them as well, so which is now up there, but I haven't actually told anyone.
Oh, you heard it here first, fam.
Worm signed the little art book. It's comic size. So,
but I will say, it seems like if people want to, if there's something people like on 78squid.inc, which I'm never going to stop saying because that's such a good. Anyways, get on it quick because you'll wind up like me and be like, oh, hey, check this out. Oh, it's gone. And it's gone.
Well, sorry, sometimes things go and then sometimes they don't. I can't, I'm not, I mean, it's psychology to a degree. I wanted to do June because I love June. I had no idea if anyone else did. I figured a few might, but yeah, it was really surprising how well it did.
Are you psyched for the movie? I'm required to ask.
Well, when I did it, the movie was due to come out not long after. So I did it thinking, oh, yeah, this is the perfect time to do this because I love June. I'm amped for it. I'm putting it out there. And then they delayed the film, a year or whatever it was? When is it due to come out
now? Googling Dune movie 2021.
It might be the first film I see in theaters after a long time.
It says October 1st, 2021. So
yeah, it might be safe to see by then. Because unfortunately, I know the director is really pissed at having it on HBO Max, maybe. So and I would watch it there if there was no other way. But that's one movie I would see in the movies. Apparently, it's got good reviews. So, but we will see. It's only part 1.
It looks pretty great, especially because like I've never seen the original with Kyle MacLachlan, the David Lynch, dude.
You have to live that film. That's classic. It's its own film. It's its very own film. It's a bit weird and clunky, but it's that thing fueled my imagination.
Right. Like I've seen it get like it has the bad rap, but it also has the cult status. Like it's David. I think I saw an interview where David Lynch is like, it's just the one thing that I never really got. I didn't really get right. But it has like that cult following. People love Dune.
No, it was my first exposure to Dune at all. So it's like from there I went to the strat. I've never read the original book. I've only read later books, but yeah. And the strategy games that came out, they built a world before I knew anything truly about the story, which I was into. So, and now it's like Game of Thrones in space in many ways. With the houses jostling power. So more of that, please.
Yep, that was the part. Like the stuff that got me the most in it was the whole like. The Game of Thrones in space. That's the perfect way of putting it. It's just there's the different families and there's the jockeying for positions and who's in charge of what. It's just
the worms of the dragons.
Right. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun book. The ending was okay. It just kind of like it ended very quickly. I mean, I've only ever read the first one. I've never read. I know there's like 20 of them or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's only the opening part of the. people who you think are great turn out not to be that great. Like, it gets weird, man. It gets real weird.
Yep. But anyway, I had to at least bring up Dune, because the Dune Total stuff, not only is it a feat in and of itself to put out that many paintings within a 1 month span, and it's also just nice to see that they all sold. It's just like, hell yeah, Ben Templesmith, sell that shit.
All but three.
All but three, yeah. So 30 paintings.
And I'm not going to sound like a shill here, but because we were talking about like the wax sealed packs before, there is the wax sealed pack on the store as well right now for June. I did one for them as well. The blue wax is so much easier to use because they use blue wax on a sand colored envelope for this one. It's great.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
And custom little stamp. I love making stuff. It's just great making stuff.
It's that extra little bit, You could just send it in an envelope, maybe put a do not bend so the postman only bends it like 4 times instead of 6. But you put that extra little effort in. It's just nice, It's
well, I'm actually I'm kind of like, I love logistics as well and packaging. So I've finally figured out what packaging works best. So I ship things mostly flat. And it's very rare for things to be dinged up too much now. They have to really mistreat stuff. So I have half of my studio is full of packaging. It's not art, it's packaging.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to use it. It makes life difficult, but yes, I love this stuff. And it's all branded. I have like stamps and things. I like doing that. It's the psychology behind it. It's like, what will people like? Because I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And how can I make it extra special to them to give them an experience? So
right.
I love talking about this shit. It's not about plugging me. It's about literally anyone can do this, If you figure out that you're actually giving an experience and it's not just on the page itself, it's the overall, hopefully people remember that, that in this world of bullshit that everything's at the click of a button, having a true experience, a connection to something or someone to be made special in a different way, that, to me, that is priceless. And that's all we can offer now because everything else is easy. Lecture over.
I was going to say, I'm giving that a second to sit in case we ever decide to clip that out, because that was a really nice thing. That was neat. This has been a very, this conversation is everything I needed it to be.
You're sounding like you're wrapping it up now and I'm boring you.
No.
I've got one more.
I was going to say, Alex probably has more. I haven't even, I'm just saying, this is when Alex was like, oh, hey, because Alex is our guest guy. He does the work. He sends out all the emails and is like, hey, we do this podcast. Please come talk to us. And he was like, so I have someone. And I was like, okay, what's up? And it was like oh shit, what? Because it's really neat. It's neat to be able to talk to people who we admire. It's one of the best happy accidents of starting the show is it gave us an excuse to talk to really cool people within the industries that we're big fans of.
I'm just a dude. I like chatting, obviously, about the industry and stuff, and right. how to be entrepreneurial about it. Because I've done everything wrong and a few things right in my time now that I'm an old man. But, no, I took a break from social media for 4 months. It just turned into a lot longer break, which was very healthy at the time. Still is. Yeah. But you just messaged me and I said, okay, sure, anytime. It just gets iffy with my sleep cycles because sleep is an issue these days. So timing can be a little off sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, I love chatting about this stuff. This is the important stuff that doesn't get talked about enough. People, Twitter is evil in so many ways.
Yeah.
For how it drives, especially how it drives conversations and what people think are important versus what's actually important sometimes. Things get lost. So the most important things you can talk about as creatives in your work life, in the industry work life, is how do I make a living off what I want to do versus oh, I have to draw this for this company now, versus I just barely can pay my rent, but I'm doing what I love. What if you could do more than that? You know, it's like, these are, to me, that's really important. And I know there's a certain segment of new creators or people around that kind of look down on making money and like, well, we all need it to live, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to have to make a GoFundMe. I may have to at some point, who knows? But your ultimate goal should be to make money. That's not a bad thing. I'm a socialist capitalist. I'm left as possible on some things, but also I'm certainly a small business independent capitalist that way. You know, I need to generate income from what I do creatively, and I'm trying, and I've had some success, and I'll happily tell anyone and anyone, everyone and anyone, all of that stuff, how I've tried to do it and what my plan is or was, because I think anyone can do it once you build an audience. Obviously, I did have a certain film thing crop up very early in my career that gave me a head start, so I'm a bit lucky that way. But anyone can still do it. You can come from nowhere and do it. Daniel Warren Johnson's doing it. I've seen him grow and grow, man. He's huge. He's great.
Yeah, he was such a cool guy.
Not to mention one of like the nice. Yeah, we're talking over each other. Go ahead. Yeah, Alex, go.
We were gonna say the same thing, that he was so much fun on his episode.
Yeah, and there's creators like him. I mean, I bought the Wonder Woman book he did, but I'm not really into most of the main, I would say, the corporate work they do, because I know hopefully that's not his end goal. His end goal is to just do the stories he wants to do and the comics he wants to do. Mm-hmm. And ideally they'll be his own eventually. And those are the ones I'm really waiting for. Like when he does a big book with Image or something. And he's probably done a few. He's done a couple of things. But yeah, I want their own voice and their own thing. That takes some time. Do you know how insane it would be to interview a director, a movie director? Here's the bullshit. Going, so what made you want to be a director? It's like, well, I really wanted to direct a Spider-Man film. Would you think less of that director or more of that director for saying that as an answer? It's like, wait, wouldn't you want to just like, you know, come up with your voice and develop your own craft in your own way and tell your own stories? That's what most directors want to do. They want to tell interesting stuff. Yes, you can find interesting things within a corporate IP, but no one goes, Steven Spielberg did not get into directing so that he could just do, well, he hasn't done a superhero film like that. So, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But the way I'm trying to circle back to that is the way I try to sell myself, and I try to sell myself as much as my individual projects, is the way a good movie director would, in that I will watch any Quentin Tarantino film. I will watch any, I'm not going to say the name right, but Denis Villeneuve, the guy doing the Dune film.
Yeah.
The French guy. I can't say his name right. I'll follow him on films because I know he's doing the film. So it's going to have a certain aesthetic. It's going to have a certain nature of what the kind of story he's trying to tell, even if it's across a different genre. So I try to do that with my comics because it'll always have my style and my hint of weirdness and hopefully quirkiness, something that makes me unique in a way that no one else can do, ideally. So anyone who's a creative should try and think about it that way and develop their own voice that way, rather than getting lost in the corporate shuffle of what editor wants what that day. So, Wow, I'm really prognosticating now.
I have a question.
Sorry if this comes across as arrogant, anyone. I've been locked up for a very long time.
Alex,
what do you got?
There's a side merch item that was attached to the Squitter book, and that is the Squitter coin made by Skeleton Studios. And we've talked.
Okay. Quick question: it's not a coin; it's a goddamn medallion.
It's huge.
Too big to be a coin.
You're right. It's the size of my palm. We've had Israel Skeleton on a few times because we talk about his keys, and we've talked about his work with Chew. And I was wondering,
he's a great guy too.
I was wondering if he approached you with the idea to make this medallion, or if you were looking for an item to be made and his name came up, because he does a lot of metal work and he came from, a jewelry making family. And so he has a good eye for metals and shaping and everything that takes. And
I met him at a show.
And the insistence on the size of it.
Well, the size of it, I mean, that's all down to him. He designed it. I gave him a drawing and he did it. It was a good experience. I'm probably a bit more niche in that it didn't have the volume for what he wanted, because it was like my first licensing deal, where it's okay, you do this. And it didn't, I mean, it sold okay, but it didn't sell enough to be worth my while particularly, versus, I mean, hopefully it sold enough for him to definitely break even and a bit more. And I got paid I got a bunch of the coins. So, and they sold. I've still got a couple, but I haven't had them up for sale. But, so I recouped my money that way on them. They were a fun thing to do. The size was pretty much down to him because of his metalworking ability and stuff. But I do like the idea of making coins. So I'm going to be hopefully making, when I say coins, I mean actual coins, like smaller coins, because the idea is to link them to a property, which goes to authenticity. Because there was this big symbol thing in the Squitter, which is a previous book I did. So you want it to be authentic that way. Like Skelton does the keys for Lock and Key, and he does a bunch of Hellboy stuff, much bigger properties than anything I've done. So hopefully they're going really well. They must be, because he keeps doing them. But authenticity is key. You've got to link it to a project rather than just randomly make something up to shoehorn it in, because then it's not as authentic. But, so you got to pick your properties as well for what works with what. So I'm going to be doing some stuff for Ernak for sure eventually. I have plans.
I'm mildly concerned that we might be underselling the size of the medallion, because I remember when Alex got it. Like Israel, one of the coolest guys. We've had him on the show at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He's just so nice and just so like jovial. Like, and he's somewhat local to us. He's up in Maine. He's like, is he? I think he's in Maine. Is he in Maine, Alex?
Maybe New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. So yeah, you're probably right there. Anyways, when Alex showed me this coin, like, it has weight. This thing has like, you could injure someone with this medallion.
Was he calling it a coin? Because it's definitely more of a medallion, I'd say.
I honestly, I can't recall.
It's kind of more like a relic in the book, I guess, the way they were using it or something. Right. But it's definitely, I wouldn't call it a coin. Although I know it was listed as a coin, probably. But it's too big. It's a hunk of metal. It is not a coin. It is a medallion.
It's in my coin collection, but it's the size of at least 13 coins combined.
Well, thank you for getting one.
It's awesome.
It's a thick boy. It's a real thick daddy. But yeah, you did mention, and I don't want to gloss over. You did mention potentially Ernak merch in the future, like an Ernak coin. Did I hear that right?
Well, I mean, I'm building a whole world. So I'm a huge fan of ancient history to begin with, and I have coin collected in the past. I need to do more with like some old Roman coins, some old.
You were talking about that on the live stream I was watching. That was sweet.
Yeah, I don't know where they are anymore, so I got to find them. But I like the idea of making old looking coins that are from my world and stuff like that. So there's a few things I can do. So I have a plan, and they themselves can become collector's items. It's things for my fan club. Yeah, their fans come first. They get no one else does. And I really enjoy trying to make, like, that to me is part of creating, is coming up with new interesting things that I can make to do with things I've already done. Like the world I'm creating is the fun part. So yeah, every little kingdom in there has its own money and currency. So yeah, I should make them.
And there, Alex, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't need him anyway. I'm trying to play you off each other now. You should have heard the stuff he was saying about you, Alex.
It was a solid 10 seconds of venom.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yep.
Poor guy.
I'm not sure where it cut out, Alex.
Oh, it wasn't much.
Ben, if you... Okay.
Yeah. Coins are a great thing, I think. And hopefully I'll be making some relatively authentic ones. So, and collector's items. Mm-hmm. It's all about collectability. A lot of people are making trading cards now for things like, I've never really been into cards too much. but I know they're a thing. But everyone's like, if you're smart as a creative person, you will realize that there is no more space on anyone's wall for prints from conventions. Everyone and their mother sells prints at cons. And they're worse than that, these people that have only ever done pinups who don't do comics, but sit in an artist alley. I'm going to shit talk them. They do fan art, pinups of like anything and everything and have like 1,000 different prints. That's more power to them for making money because they know they're playing the market. But it's the lowest common denominator. And once that sets in, the only thing you have to sell is your specialness and your the quality of, obviously the quality of your work and the quality of the prints. But I sell prints for $20 because that's the point where it's a value for me to do them, right? Because you got to lug them around the country, and I don't have many, and it's all I can fit in a suitcase. So, but then there's a guy, you know, down the row selling them for $5 each or whatnot, and they're just, you know, I can't compete with a Deadpool pinup, which is very popular, obviously, depending on the art. But yeah, you've got to find new things and new ways of offering things. I think the new frontier will be, well, okay, the pandemic fucked it up, but things for people's cubicles at work. Maybe things for their shelves at home, because people have shelves, want like nice little things on shelves and things. And I think coins and things can be one thing, little sculptures and things that require more effort than just going to your local Kinko's and printing out prints, because you can't compete with those guys. They will clean everything out. They have the volume of every character, you know, Star Wars character out there that they're ripping off. So, yeah, prints are dead, and not dead, but lesser, obviously. And the way of the future is to make new things. And Skelton is a definite big one of those. He makes things that you cannot get anywhere else. They're a lot higher price, but that's because of the craft and the business way he's operating. So, yeah. I want to be a little bit in both worlds of that. So,
okay, Alex, how are we on time?
1:30.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. I love talking.
Oh no!
You have to tell me to shut up.
Yeah, no, like that's this is one of those, like, we're fine
it's
with
worth
going
it.
over, and if our listeners have this is where me and Alex can be selfish sometimes, because this is really neat that we get to make this for our listeners, but it's also really neat because we get to talk to Ben Templesmith for a little while. You know, it's just so if we go over.
The logic is you've got an audience that have already listened to you for an hour. Do you think they give a shit that they're listening for another half hour or another hour? There's not an 8-hour audio file, then it's fine. And as long as they're interested. If they're not interested, they would have tuned out long ago because they hate me. That's fine. That's fine too.
I don't even know if that's possible.
If they've listened for the past 7 years,
possible.
then they can do with an extra 30 minutes.
Yep.
You guys do what you want. You're your own bosses. That's great.
Exactly. You know, that's one of the things like that makes us nervous about like Patreon and stuff like that. You know, because then it's like, oh, now people are paying us to make content. We have to we can't just do it for us.
Well, I mean, do you have a Patreon?
No.
Well, you know, if you did, your smart thing would have your public show, but then the other half or whatever behind the scenes, other chat, whatnot, would be just for the Patreon.
The pre-show diaper talk convention.
Well, that too. But you know, you can get. I mean, it'd be. I don't know. It's a weird guest that wouldn't enjoy talking too much, unless they are literally stretched for time. But like, I mean, you could have so much more content just to share with patrons. I don't know, you know, subscriber bases and whatnot. I don't know how feasible that would be.
Right.
But I like ideas.
Yeah, it's one of those fun things. Making stuff is fun. I mean, that's what it ultimately started at. Like, just it was an excuse to talk with my friends with microphones in front of our faces and feel professional, and then it just kind of spiraled. So, anyway, where was I going? I don't even know what was happening, what was going on with this. I guess
interrupted. I'm sorry.
We should Alex, do you have anything else that you wanted to cover?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Okay.
You haven't asked what I'm wearing.
Are you? So You did talk about that in the live stream that I watched, where it's like you even said I'm not always in a suit, which was a shock. I got over it. I worked past it.
A lot of people think they're being clever when they come up to me and say, "Hey, you're not in a suit." It's like, well, it's because I'm not at the con right now. Like it's after hours or whatnot, or on a Sunday because I've been wearing a suit for 4 days or 3 days. I'm like, yeah, today I'm going to let my neck breathe and I'm going to just wear normal clothes, my normal clothes.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't wear a suit all the time, but it's been a good marketing gimmick, I guess. And I like dressing up for the show. I never get to dress up for anything else, so yeah, I'll wear a suit.
For what it's worth, you pull it off.
Oh, thanks, man.
Very, very dapper.
Blame Grant Morrison.
That's my mantra. I live by those words. Just
my first San Diego Comic-Con, I was sat behind the IDW booth just looking out and shit, or somewhere like that, and it's like, holy shit, that's this big bald guy. I only saw the back of his head at first. It's like he's very bald, but pretty tall, and he was in this pinstripe blue suit, I think it was. I'm like, holy shit, that's impressive. Oh, that's Grant Morrison. Holy shit. Probably one of the first big people I've ever laid eyes on at a show because I'm from Australia. But yeah, like, oh shit, that's how you stand out. That's how you get noticed. It's like, why not wear a suit? We're grown-ups now. Let's wear a suit. No one else is. Everyone else is T-shirts and shorts. I'm going to rag on people a little bit. If you go to a con as a professional in any capacity and you still dress the way you could get away with when you are 12 years old, maybe it's time to wear pants. Maybe it's time to dress a little more formal, little up, to give the fans the sense that you rocked up with a purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to wear the same shit in my studio that I'm going to wear when I go meet you. I'm just not going to do it now. Well, mostly. To me, it's about respect and it's about creating. It's marketing to a degree, but it's a perception and like, yeah, I'm there to rock and roll. I'm there in my con attire, so I'm in the zone. And yeah, I could never get away with just wearing a t-shirt and shorts and flip flops or whatever people sometimes wear. It's like, no, I did that when I was 12. Actually, I stopped. I never wear shorts. I always wear pants. So jeans or trousers, whatever. But yeah, to me, it's a thing people should do more of. I've seen people try a little with just wearing a vest. Like that, buddy, that ain't going to cut it. You got to go the full suit, top and bottom, not a jeans and a jacket either. Like no. That's producers can do that. Hollywood producers, no one else.
That's all the rage these days is the sport coat with jeans. That's
to me that's the quintessential. I've never dressed properly in my life, but my job is forcing me to look like I matter somewhat, so I'll wear the suit jacket on top of a t-shirt and jeans. And it's a good casual look if your normal look is the suit. Like, he's downsizing a little. But for most people, it's them coming up. I used to live in San Diego, and people wearing any sorts of pants I got asked if I was gay once. Nothing against being gay, but they thought I was gay because I never wore shorts. I would always wear like these trousers. They were like pinstripe cool jean trousers, but they were like way too formal for someone in that sort of climate. We're talking about like the boss would wear shorts and sandals to work. It's like he didn't look like a boss. It's like in a t-shirt. It's like no one dressed up there except me. And because of that, because I paid attention to my appearance somewhat, they thought I was my orientation was different. Like, no,
because of pants. Because obviously that's the only telling factor into someone's sexual orientation or preferences or whatever is their pants.
Well, I had in-laws visit me in Australia one time. And they thought, because they went to this, what we call a CBD, Central Business District, is downtown. So the downtown bit with all the office buildings and office workers and stuff. And they thought, because they were Mormon, they thought there was a fuck ton of Mormons in Perth. They're like, why do you think they're Mormons? Because they're all in like the suit and tie. It's like, that's what you wear when you're at work properly in an office and you dress up properly. You're not just a Mormon. But I mean, Mormons do it too. Maybe I'm a Mormon in comics. Wearing my suit and evangelizing. But
I think now we're getting down to the real root of it.
weird perceptions based on how you dress, but you are judged on what you wear. So I'm going to dress to try and impress because there ain't much underneath.
Well, Ben, you pull it off. You come off as a gentleman, and you're an enjoyable person to talk with, whether it's at a con table or just rambling on a podcast.
You don't want to get stuck in an elevator with me, trust me.
Hey, so far all the interactions have been positive, so I don't know. But
give it time. This is your way of rounding it out, isn't it?
We do. Sadly, we should probably wrap up. As much as it bums me out, mostly just because I just don't want our audio to suddenly crash and to have us lose all of this beautiful material.
It's cool. I know. I understand. It's fine. I know your battery's going to die. So.
Before we end, is there we've mentioned the Patreon, we've mentioned the Instagram, the website. Is there anything else that you wanted to plug? Whether it's socials, I don't know if you have any upcoming appearances in the distant future or anything. Is there anything else that you wanted to get out there?
So long as the trajectory and everything goes as planned, I guess if cons are opening up again, I hope to be at the major cons at the end of the year. And I am Templesmith on almost all social media, just at Templesmith, Temple of Doom Smith, one word. And I got the Squid Army Patreon, patreon.com/Templesmith. And my online store is 78squid.inc. So if you don't want to bother subscribing and miss out on most of the stuff, that eventually what's left makes it to that public store. So yeah, man, that's me. Thank you for listening to me waffle. I know you probably need to hit the bathroom. I'm right.
This is, I only had like half of a nice coffee and most of a seltzer, so I'm not like quite exploding, but we're getting there.
You're in your head now, and your bladder is listening to me.
It's the psychology is definitely there. Ben, this was great. We can't thank you enough for coming on and doing this with us. It has been an absolute blast. Thank you for doing this. It's so fun.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with me, guys.
Anytime, Ben. Anytime.
I'm happy to chat anytime, obviously.
Right? Yeah. Okay. We have all the time in the world. At least, we did.
But listen to feedback from your audience, mate. They might hate me. So
we'll see. We'll see. Even if they do come out and they say, "Yo, I didn't like Ben Templesmith," I'm just gonna choose to reject their opinion because they must clearly be wrong.
Yeah. I agree.
Yep. Alex gets it. So,
well, thanks very much, guys.
Thank you. With all that said, we're going to end it now. The thank yous have been said and the websites have been plugged. So I guess that's the best time to do it. So that's it. That's all we have. We're done. We're done talking. Until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And I'm that Australian guy. What was my name again?
I haven't said it enough this episode, so I'll say it one more time. I believe it's Ben Templesmith, the third.
Just the first, but yeah, thank you. I don't like saying my own name. I never do, but yeah.
Try. I mean, I think I got you covered throughout the entirety of this episode. For some reason, your full name is just fun to say. Anyways, that's been he's been for Ben Templesmith. This has been episode 427 of Opinions May Vary. Hey everyone, if you liked that episode, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Opinions May Vary, and on Twitter and YouTube at OMV Podcast. You can also find us on Spotify or on our very own website at omvpodcast.com. And if you're looking for merch, we have stickers and pins available over at omvpodcast.bigcartel.com while supplies last. As always, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and we will see you next time.